too.
Yours is too?
Yeah, I'm in and
Okay.
out. Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. At least I know it's just not me. Okay.
All right, well, you are live now.
Good morning, everyone. The Audit Committee of the Annapolis City Council and residents will now come to order on Monday, October 16th, 2023 at 8:03 a.m. This time we'll have the call to order right then. We've already done that. And the roll call. Alderwoman Tierney.
Present.
Mr. James Cardillo.
Present.
Miss Anne Marie Baker.
Present.
All right, and we have with us this morning our city manager and our assistant city manager, and we have some special guests. So anyway, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. We also have Ms. Dickinson, our finance director, this morning. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting of July 17th, 2023?
Uh-oh, I'm busted here. Hold on.
Is that a motion to approve the minutes from the last
Move
meeting?
to approve minutes posted, yeah.
All right. Can I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. Number 5 on our agenda is old business, audit committee vacancies. Do we have any updates on our audit committee vacancies? Mr. Cardillo oftentimes keeps track of that for us. Mr. Cardillo, do you know of any updated information on our audit committee vacancies?
Since the July meeting, I have been in touch with Hillary, and I did give her some suggestions, and I encouraged her to keep a dialogue open with me about how to extend an invitation to city residents or residents of neighboring communities for this valuable undertaking. So I will continue to pursue that with Hillary.
Okay, great. Anyone else have anything to add regarding audit committee vacancies? Okay. Small item B, performance measures strategic plan. I don't have anything to add to that.
Maybe the city
Any-
manager.
I'm sorry. Okay, we have our assistant city manager and our city manager on this morning. Do you all have any information to provide to us regarding performance measures strategic plan?
This is Vicky. I will provide an update regarding the performance measures. So I have been working with a couple of departments. Goal as presented during the budget sessions this last year was to have about a third, so 4 departments' performance measures altered and updated in time for the budget discussion this next year. So that is something that that I have been working on. One department I have, one department I have basically done and am in process with the next 2. So we should meet that goal of having a third of them completely revamped. All of them should have some changes, but 4 of them should be totally done in time for the budget.
Okay. Any idea of possibly when all of them, are you talking about maybe the next budget season after that for the rest of the 2/3, or how do you kind of see that timeline moving along, Ms. Buckland?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wanted to see how this first group went. I do think that is reasonable to get the rest of them done this next year.
Okay, makes sense to see how the first group goes along to kind of get the kinks out, for lack of a better term, for the next 2/3. Any questions from anyone? Yes, Alderwoman Tierney.
A quick question, just for my own curiosity, because we've been using the past performance measures, so, for quite a while now. Are there drastic differences in your opinion, Vicky? I mean, Assistant Director, City Manager.
There are a number of changes. For the most part, a lot of the existing performance measures are outputs. Just how many did you do? So, for example, for public works, you'd have, the number of lane miles, right? But the question, I think, from a budgeting perspective ends up being, is that the right number? Like, are we doing enough to keep up? And so rather than just sheer number of miles, for example, or linear feet of sidewalk or whatever, instead they're framed in more to try to answer that question of, are we keeping up? So what proportion of our existing infrastructure are we getting done each year? And does that percentage then allow us to replace everything within the expected lifetime of the asset? Right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Right. So it's that kind of change, not necessarily you're going to measure something drastically different, but let's talk about how we measure it and what question are we trying to answer with that measure?
Yeah. So it's not just a so what, you get all those numbers and you say, well, so what? You did this, but yeah, that's great.
Right.
Thank you so much for that process.
Right.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, Ms. Buckland. It kind of changes the lens on which we are looking at the issue. So yeah, makes a lot of sense. So, okay. Anybody else have any questions regarding the performance measures and strategic plan, or any comments? Mr. Cardillo?
Just a question for Vicky. Will these be in place for the next budget year for department heads?
For those four, yes.
Just the four, okay.
In terms of being done, yeah. There are a few suggestions I have just out of the gate for all of them. But what I wanted to focus on was getting those four really to the finish line.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments concerning performance measures strategic plan? Okay. We can move on to little C, risk assessment, fraud and abuse hotline. And I'm looking at the last meeting's notes, and it talked about specific fraud and abuse hotline complaint concerning the Market House lease renewal. I don't know if that's the only issue under that heading or if there's anything else. Does anybody want to respond to little C? I think Alderman Arnett, the chair, might have been working on that or looking into that, but does anybody else have anything that they want to bring to the meeting this morning concerning risk assessment, fraud and abuse hotline? Okay, I guess we'll move on and just put a pin beside it for the chair to respond to that when he returns. Does that sound reasonable to everyone? Okay, I see head nodding. Okay, I take that as a yes. Okay. All right, next we'll move on to new business. Small a, required communication, UHY LLC, dated September the 12th, 2023. And we have Mr. Jason here with us this morning. Good morning, Mr. Jason.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
How are you this morning?
Good, good.
Good.
Thank you
Okay.
for the early start. I appreciate this. got my day going early.
All right. You may proceed.
All right, thank you. Yeah, again, my name is Jason Ostrowski. I'm the engagement principal on the financial statement audit this year. And you should have received with your packet the it's a new written required communication. We've generally done kind of informally, but new audit standards kind of expanded the communications that we have to do around planning with governance, incorporated some new elements, primarily identifying significant risks that we identify as part of our audit planning. So I'm just going to walk through that, and certainly feel free to ask any questions. And also, in addition to us just walking through our required communications, also look at this as an opportunity to address any questions, concerns, anything you'd like us to look at as we go through our financial statement audit. So I'll start out. So first thing, scope of the audit, of course, audit of the financial statements and that annual comprehensive financial report. In addition to that, we're performing the audit under government auditing standards. So one of the deliverables at the end will be a report on internal control over financial reporting. And then the final piece of the scope will also include an audit of compliance with federal awards as well. So we pull a sample of your federal grant awards, and we'll issue an opinion on those as to whether they're in compliance materially with federal regulations. So kind of proceeding through that written communication, our responsibilities and management's responsibilities. So this letter just kind of highlights the distinction there. Us as auditors will be issuing an opinion on whether the financial statements are materially stated. Then, of course, management's responsibilities are for preparation of those financial statements, as well as the internal controls around the preparation of those financial statements. Next section, plan scope. So we talked about the scope of the audit, timing, and then, as I mentioned, significant risks. So we'll start with the significant risks. It's on page 2 of the letter there with the bulleted list there. Required under auditing standards always are management override of controls that we identify as a significant risk and revenue recognition. And so we build procedures around both of those. The second piece there is the overstatement of construction in progress. That really relates. Primarily, we identified that as a significant risk given the material weakness that we had last year. We've already kind of gone through, and we'll talk about the timing, planning phases, working with Jody and Julie. So we know that they're heightened awareness, and they've addressed that and have processes and procedures to identify those construction in progress and really moving it into capitalized assets. And then the last bullet there is the fair value of investments and the actuarial information. And that really relates to your alternative investments, primarily in your pension and OPEB plans, as well as the actuarial information. Those are two significant estimates that really, with the significant risks, we apply expanded audit procedures around those. And then the last piece in the written communication is really our timing. So as I mentioned, we kicked off the audit back in May. This is our second year auditing the city. And so we started a little later last year. I think we got started last year in August. So we're kind of through a lot of our planning phase of our audit, test the controls, and really working closely with Jody and Julie and rolling into performing our substantive procedures. As you'll see in the letter, we're looking to get started with those late October, early November. And then our goal this year and target issuance is going to be, we're really hoping to get an issuance before Christmas this year. So we're targeting sometime around third week of December to issue our opinions. And so that's really all of the required communications. Keep it pretty brief, but as I mentioned, I'll open it up to any questions and address any questions, concerns you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Jason. I'm going to turn it over right now to Ms. Dickinson, our finance director, in case she wants to add something to what you've already said before we take questions.
No, I don't know this is a new letter, Jason. I don't know if you want to talk to that. Was there a particular reason why the practice thought we should start having this letter in advance?
Yeah, we've always done communications through fraud standards and spoken to some
Mhm.
members of the governance of the council, and SAS 134 kind of expanded those communications and really kind of forced us to do it a little bit more formally, as I mentioned, as well as also expanding some of the communications that we have to do. So really, it's new audit standards that precipitated us doing these additional communications and doing it a little more formally in writing than we have in prior years.
And no, I mean, we're glad to get started a little earlier this year. Julie mainly has been working real hard to try to keep things getting closed for the year. We're doing the final set of entries now and drafting our fund financial statements so we can get them to Jason and his team by the end of this month. So we're real happy with the way things are going, and like I say, glad to hope to have this timeline accelerated this year.
I'm having some trouble with my internet. No, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can everybody hear me?
yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
A little choppy, but yeah.
You can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now? I'm
Yes,
having problems with my internet.
that's better.
Okay, can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay, all right, good. Mr. Cardello and then Alderwoman Tierney.
Thank you. Jason, just a question with regards to staffing
Go
the
ahead.
engagement. Thank you. Question with regards to staffing the engagement. Out of the staff assigned, how many are returning and how many are new?
I was on it last year, so I'm returning, as well as the audit manager was also on it last year. We have some new staff team members at the associate level, but myself and the audit manager are both returning.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't hear the question or the answer, but that's okay. We're gonna keep moving out again. Alderwoman Tierney.
Yes, two questions. The first question, and forgive my ignorance, is the structure of the letter. It appears that you're basically saying this is what we're doing because this is the generally accepted requirements per the the United States auditing procedures and all, and you're not taking any liberty from that. Am I correct? There's a lot of forgive the expression, but there's a lot of disclaimers. Like, we're only doing this. And you give us this. We're not going to be auditing that, but we want to have the supplemental information. That's kind of what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, I can touch on that. So yeah, another piece in the letter talks about our responsibilities around the required supplementary information.
Yes.
So that's kind of outside of just the basic financial statements and the footnote disclosures. There's under GASB, there's a management discussion and analysis that's kind of on the front end of the financial section of that annual comprehensive financial report. And then there's some schedules in the back that are required under GASB. And GASB is the auditing standards or the accounting standards that you're reporting under. Those schedules are required under GASB. There's some pension information, some budgetary schedules, but the way kind of the auditing standards are structured and the way our opinion is structured is we don't issue an opinion on that management discussion and analysis and those schedules that are required supplementary information. But we do go through, we read it, we agree it to supporting documentation. But when you read the opinion that's included in the financial statements, it says that we do not issue an opinion on those sections. So just as far as what we're opining on, and us as auditors love to materiality and everything about how we're taking responsibility and what we're taking responsibility for. So that's a great question, and that's really kind of what this communication is supposed to highlight is what we're doing in our audit and what we are actually auditing. And then the other piece in there is also what's included in the annual comprehensive financial report. There's an introductory section and a statistical section in that annual comprehensive financial report. And also in there, we don't issue an opinion on those sections, but we do go through the GFOA checklist and make sure that all of the required information is in there. We also tie that information back and forth to really where our opinion focuses, which is on the basic financial statements and the footnote disclosures.
Actually, there were 3 questions, but the second one really quickly, when you go in, when you say we have identified the following significant risks, those are specific to the city of Annapolis already in your letter?
Yes. And as
So
I
you've already
mentioned,
done some, that's from your familiarity with Annapolis, the city of Annapolis. Okay.
yes, so part of our planning process is in doing the audit, we identify those. And the first one, like I mentioned, is really something under auditing standards that we have to address as a significant
Okay.
risk. The other 2 are specific to the city.
Okay. And then my last question, and Jody, help me with the acronym now. I have AMLP in my brain. You mentioned that you audit federal grants. Does that include the Recovery Act money? What is the acronym? Jody?
ARPA.
Thank you.
Yeah, ARPA. Yeah, that will be on the schedule of federal assistance that they audit. And for we may have to provide a sum to transportation for 23 to have them break even. But other than that, you won't see much on there. I'm not sure it's going to be material enough to warrant testing, but we'll see.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Baker, did you have any questions?
No additional questions from me.
Okay, thank you very much. We can move on to 6 little B draft calendar year 2024 Audit Committee calendar. I think we all got a copy of this in our packets, and we're looking at January 16th, February 20th, March 18th, April 15th, May 20th, June 17th, July 15th, no meeting in August, September 16th, October 21st, November 18th, December 16th. And the first 2 dates are Tuesdays because of the holiday. Has everyone had an opportunity to review this? Do all these dates meet with your approval? I guess we need a motion to approve this calendar. Is that correct? Can I get a motion to approve the 2024 calendar for our audit committee meeting in 2024?
I move that we approve the calendar presented to us.
Second? Second, okay, all in favor?
Second, thank you.
It's all right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none. So the calendar has been approved. I'm gonna move back up to the Risk Assessment Fraud Abuse Hotline 5 little c, because I'm looking at the minutes from the last meeting. In July, it says, quote, "The audit committee considered the Market House lease term extension to be in accordance with pre-existing written agreements. However, it was acknowledged that the lessee had not provided periodic financial data to the city as required. This is being remedied," unquote. So I just want to add that to our meeting notes today, just to clear that up. All right. Number 7, reports from subcommittees or members. Little A, Finance Director.
Sure. The only things that I have to report is that we are all working towards getting the annual comprehensive financial report drafted. It starts with pulling together statements, financial statements for the individual funds, and that's what we're doing right now. And as we go, posting any entries that we've missed during the year. We hope to have that done. Those statements pulled together by the end of this month, and we will spend November pulling together the big report while the auditors are looking at the information. They plan on being here all during November and into December. And other than that, with my staffing, we've got senior buyer position opened. Everything else is filled, and Some of the staff are relatively new, so we're still doing a little bit of training for those new positions. And I would love to run and fill my senior accountant position, but I have to identify a location. So either move existing staff to, or where to put that new person, because there are no seats available. And that's all I have to report. There's actually a lot more going on, but nothing that I will talk about here.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of Director Dickinson? Okay. I see none. Now, we don't have this on our agenda, but I'm going to give Ms. Buckland and/or our city manager an opportunity to ask questions or make any statements or comments additionally.
I'll only add one thing, which is that the National Community Survey that Annapolis is working on, the first round of that, which is the sampled portion of the survey, that has gone out. The first round of that got started late last week, and we're meeting today to talk about outreach for the open portion of the survey. You had asked about strategic planning earlier. One of the goals for us is to have those results in time for strategic planning purposes. So that just went out and should provide some really good insight into how the residents across the city feel about a whole variety of things.
Oh, I think you froze, Rhonda. Oh, now you're not.
I didn't hear a word that was said. I'm sorry. My internet is really, really bad this morning. I don't know what the problem is. But I'm sure Ms. Buckland covered whatever topic she was talking about, which was the survey that I heard. And as long as everyone else heard it, that's the main thing. Do we have any questions of Ms. Buckland based on her information that she just provided? And Ms. Dickinson, if you have anything to add.
No, not this time.
Okay, anybody else have anything to add for the good of the order this morning? Going once.
I have a question. Me.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I'm not sure. There's been a request, and I'm not sure the procedure to add to our agenda an audit of the Arts and Public Places Commission. Is that something we can do or put on the agenda?
What did you say? I didn't hear that. You broke up. An audit of what?
There's been some discussion, I guess, because of the recent appropriations on whether we should audit the Arts and Public Places Commission's spending.
Okay.
Is that something we could do, or what, Jody? I don't know how transparent their budget is.
I believe the audit committee has could order something like that. We have to make sure we have the funding. There is some funding in place for the audit committee. I don't know what's been used, for instance, for the survey, et cetera, or performance measures. So we would have to see where we get the funding, but those are the types of audits we could undertake. We'd probably have to hire or do some purchasing. I don't know if we'd have to do an RFP. I'm not sure how high the fee would be, but we'd at least have to do some pricing, get some quotes regarding such an audit.
Okay.
For you, and pick an auditor. I mean, that's something you can, I think that's within your purview.
Okay. I'll talk to my colleague.
Jim has any other, I don't know if Jim has any other input. I don't have the code in front of me as to what your duties are, but audits are within.
Yeah, if I think what's probably best is if there's a request coming in from outside to have the chair of this committee review it, determine if it's appropriate. And then he could form just a brief subgroup to assess what the scope of the work to be performed is, and then go out and contract for it through Brian. Is it still Brian?
Okay. All right.
But my point is that,
Mike Gracia.
thank you, I'm sorry. I think we first have to determine what do we want to accomplish with an audit.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I guess we'll just put it on a margin note right now, and we'll revisit it with the chair.
yeah, and I'm happy to engage with the chair if he so desires, so.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think Rhonda froze again. Did she? Yoo-hoo, Rhonda.
Maybe if she turned off her video, the audio would come through clear. Oh,
Guess she's logging back on.
She'll pop back on in a second. That's what she's been doing, cutting out, coming back on. Rhonda, can you hear us?
Just now, I missed everything, but keep going.
I think we're at a standstill now.
yeah, I think we can move to an adjournment if the chair is prepared.
I'm prepared because I didn't hear it and I can't see anybody. So at this time, I have someone make a motion to adjourn at 8:34 a.m.
I motion that we adjourn at 8:35.
Second,
All right. All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Bye.